Okay, we're going to start with the nation. Tinubu, servicing debt with 90% revenue unsustainable. Stock market deals up by 22%. Why we destroyed vessel laden with stolen crude by Navy. NEMA alert to flooding over Lagbo Dam opening in Cameroon. Nigeria loses $4 million daily to oil theft, says NSA. CCB begins verification of governor's minister's claims. And family hopeful on suspected EFCC boss Bauer's release. Okay, let me start with the major headlines. So the president has said that he was attending actually the conference, the NBA conference in Abuja, the 63rd Nigerian Bar Association annual conference in Abuja, where he was saying that servicing our debt by 90% of our revenue is definitely unsustainable. He promised to depart from what he described as destructive path. He also noted that the erratic power supply constituted a major hindrance to growth, and he urged Nigerians to have a positive attitude while his government intensifies their effort to reposition the country. He was also saying that he's not perfect, that he's bound to make mistakes at some point, and that he's hoping that the lawyers and the judges will be able to, once he makes any mistake, they should, he would definitely adjust it once he's told about. That's why he has surrounded himself with people who know better to be able to ensure he doesn't make costly mistakes. He has also promised the judges that their remuneration will be reviewed, because the only way we can ensure proper justice is served is when we have judges who are well paid. He also said that we need to stop complaining as a nation and focus on the right things. It's going to be costly for the first short to medium term, but eventually during the long term, we'll definitely benefit as a country from the reforms he's putting together. So we're speaking at the NBA conference, which was invited by the Attorney General of the Federation. It was an interesting speech, and I think every Nigerian should read it, because it's a speech that actually encourages, empowers, and motivates us to believe that this government knows exactly what they're doing to get us out of poverty. Okay, another story in the nation.
So I'm taking the Code of Conduct Bureau. Barely a week in office, the Code of Conduct Bureau has started to do the asset declaration details, verifying those assets that are owned by ministers. This we know before. The Code of Conduct Bureau had to wait for ministers after they've been appointed to fill their asset declaration form, but now it's a precondition before even going for the interviews. So they have all the details. They said that with the digital world, they have access. They're partnering with the NFIU, that's the Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit. They are partnering with banks, the CAC, Security and Exchange Commission, vehicle registration, land registries across all states and, throughout the nation. And because of things like the bank verification number, BVN, the NFIU can easily, through all the banks, access every account that any minister, governor, or appointee has access to. And this process might take a few months, but with technology, they're able to do a thorough job. The chairman of the CCB, Professor Issa Mohammed, has said they put a machinery in motion to ensure this is done, including the president, the speaker, the deputy speaker, even every state governor and all the state governor appointees down to the Attorney General of the Federation would all be getting their assets verified all through. And, okay. I know this is a way to curb corruption long term.
The story on why we destroyed vessel laden with stolen oil by the Navy. A few weeks ago, we would recollect that there was this vessel and it was destroyed by the Navy, and a lot of people started asking questions as to why that vessel was destroyed, considering the current situation of our country regarding oil. And the Navy has come out to say that the vessel was arrested on the 15th of August, and it has generated interest in what was being tracked for alleged oil theft. And so a statement released by Adedotun Ayovon said that the vessel had been alongside for 2 years and was allegedly used as storage for illegal automotive gas oil until it was arrested. And so before the decision to destroy this vessel was made by the Navy, they had mentioned that the products on the vessel was taken for laboratory analysis, and it was discovered that these the products were illicit AGO. And so this was one of the reasons why they couldn't take it back. And considering the fact that it's been along their lines for 2 years, it was just the best decision to destroy it.
Okay. Moving on now to Punch. Cameroon dam opening evacuates to prevent deaths. FG states warn flood-prone communities. Servicing debt with 90% revenue path to destruction, says Tinubu. Senator's aide. Murder cases takes time to resolve. Police reply family. I am loyal to Obaseki, still want to be governor, says Shoibu. Banks, 18 others fined 125 million for late filings. Niger, ECOWAS demands shorter transition period from junta. Cash shortage, bank borrowing from CBN hits 12 trillion. And external reserves fall by $919 million after Naira float. Okay, which story have you taken in Punch?
Okay, let me quickly take the story about the banks. About 8 banks and 18 other listed companies have been fined 125 million for failing to file their 2022 audited financial statement and quarterly report for the first quarter of 2023. The banks affected, surprisingly, I felt like banks have more structure. Unity Bank, FBN Holdings, Access Holdings, Fidelity, Jay's Bank, Wema Bank, Guarantee Trust Holdings, and EcoBank Transnational Incorporated. These are the 8 banks that are part of the 18 other companies that have been fined. And this is according to the Nigerian Exchange posting rules. They mentioned that quoted companies are required to submit their audited reports. They have nothing less than 90 days in the calendar to do so. And I'm hoping the fines being paid will go into the TSA accounts to help us sort out some of our budgetary needs that we are unable to do.
Okay, so the Lago Dam from Cameroon is about to be opened. So the government had written NEMA, the National Emergency Management Agency, that they will be releasing the dam very soon. On the states that will be the flood-prone areas. That's going to be Benue, Nasarawa, Kogi, Taraba, Adamawa, Rivers, Cross River are the states that are likely to be affected. According to the letter they wrote to NEMA, they will be releasing only modulated variable small amount of water at the time in order to mitigate and avoid damage that the released water might have on communities. However, they're asking the states within this region to begin to make plans towards ensuring the safety of their citizens. And NEMA has immediately communicated this to the state governors to begin to put together measures like maybe IDP camps for displaced homes, food supplies for people who will be displaced for we don't know how long they will be displaced, but NEMA has sent an official letter to all the various state governors within the states to do everything they need to mitigate the moment the dam is released and the effect it will have on the communities within that area. Now that they've told the governors, so I hope they actually do something about it and they have some time.
Release of dam always costs major.
Yes, and it's something that we know it will happen eventually, so there should be plans already within the states. Let's take one more story in Punch.
Yes, I have the story on the murder case against the senator's aide. The Lagos State Police Commander said that an investigation is still ongoing into the killing of Adeniyi Sonny, an aide of Senator Solomon Adeola representing Ogun West at the National Assembly. And this happened on the 5th of August, where he was allegedly shot by suspected soldiers. And the State Police Public Relations Officer, Benjamin Undeyi, was contacted. And he said he didn't have an update on the story, stating that the case is now with the State Criminal Investigation Department. And so a few persons are raising concerns, saying that why is the army not saying anything, that their silence apparently means something, and something is really fishy about this situation, but there are no reports yet. And the spokesperson also went ahead to say that it's a criminal case and it may take a long time for it to be sorted out. So they should please give the police some more time to get the real facts surrounding this situation. Again,
article raises issues over Tinubu's varsity degree. FG insists on December takeoff date for Port Harcourt's refinery. Ohaneze asked Tinubu to free Kanu. NAF hits all thieves as Nigeria loses $7.2 million monthly to vandals in Abia. FG abandons 16 billion naira Boeing 737 training simulator in Zaria. Serap gives President 48 hours to reverse ban on Vanguard, Galaxy TV, 23 others from Villa. NACAT sues acting CBN governor, deputy governor, CCB over refusal to declare assets. And crisis looms over planned resumption of APC elected LG chairman in Plateau. Let me start with the Ohaneze Ndigbo world for the upteenth time called on the President Bola Tinubu to release indefinitely the leader of IPOB, Nnamdi Kanu. The group had declared its readiness to sign an indemnity agreement with the federal government to free the detained self-determination agitator. The group, the chairman of the Central Planning Committee for the Ndigbo Heroes and Special Allies of Ndigbo Igbo Day 2023 is coming up very soon in September in Enugu. The chairman, that's Professor Fred Eze, has said that the foremost Igbo philanthropist, Prince Arthur Eze, will be the chairman of the event, and they'll be honoring past Igbo heroes, which includes the posthumous awards going to Dr. Nnamdi Azikwe, heads of state, Major General Agun Ironsi, amongst many others who will be honored at that event. And they're using the opportunity to tell again the president that it's important for him to release Nnamdi Kanu. It will show good faith to the region, and it's a way to also to show the attachment and connection to the Igbo community in the country. He said that it serves as an encouragement, motivation, and inspiration, not only to the families, but to the Igbo generation at large. So it's something the president should consider according to Ohaneze Ndigbo at this time. So
since I took the story about the CCB, another set of people that were meant to declare their assets are the acting governor of the central bank, as well as the deputy governor of the central bank, both which are Mr. Fola Shonubi, as well as Mr. Edward Adamu. A case has been brought to them from the Network Against Corruption and Trafficking Foundation. They dragged these two people that they didn't declare they didn't declare some assets in their CCB form, failure to declare assets to the Code of Conduct Bureau. This case was filed on the 25th of August, and the detail includes the fact that Mr. Shonubi had assets in some specific companies, that he was a director, and they listed the companies where he's a director, and did not mention it in his declaration form. They also said Mr. Adamu is a director in some other companies with their registration number, and that there is Freedom of Information Bill, and they are exerting their right to request that the CCB, that's Code of Conduct Bureau, investigates the reason why the information was not as detailed as it should be, and why they have not updated with the companies they have assets in. If we remember, part of the case they are having against the former CBN governor, former CBN governor, Godemefele, is that contracts were awarded to companies that he has interest in. So it's important that you declare all the companies you have interest in, and there's no form of round-tripping of benefits to those companies while you are in position.
Okay, so, another story in Son?
Yes. The federal government abandons 16 billion naira Boeing 737 simulators in Zaria. And so this simulator is at the Nigerian College of Aviation Technology in Zaria. And this device or equipment was purchased in 2019 for $21 million. At the time, it was equivalent to 16 billion naira. But the news has it that this investment is just lying fallow and is barely being used by those that are supposed to use it. The article went on to say that it was delivered in 2016. It was supposed to be delivered in 2016, but did not get delivered, but it was delivered in 2019. And still, people are not being able to use it. The people that are supposed to use it are not meant to use it. And this just questions the fact that sometimes we just see that the government spends some monies on some equipment that we feel are necessary, but at the end of the day, are they really useful or being used for what they were designed to be used for?
You know, what you just said is an interesting hot topic, which I think is another day we need to discuss it. You know, when we just have something that's a good idea, we bring it home and it certainly doesn't fit, you know? But let's move on now to Vanguard.
We need to give
anxiety in flood-prone states as Cameroon opens the Lado Dam. Let's find a story we've not taken. Government efforts failing as food imports rise 122%. Deficit hits 4.9 trillion naira. Serap to Tinubu, reverse ban on Vanguard, Galaxy TV, 23 others from Aso Rock. NBS Employment Report, a fraud labor employers fume. Supreme Court confirms PSC as body responsible for police recruitment. All right, so for those of us who have been following, let me take that, the PSC story. So for those of us that have been following the issue between the police force headquarters and the Police Service Commission, if you recall, they were back and forth on who is responsible, who is statutorily responsible for recruitment. Well, the Supreme Court has finally put to rest the lingering argument and has said that the PSC is the one that has the statutory right to actually recruit. The court ruled this that was the mandate of the PSC to recruit police personnel, with chairman of the PSC, Dr. Solomon Arashi, retired, declaring that the judgment was for the overall best interest of national security. Arashi said that the judgment simply and legally cements the resolution of the issue in a win-win situation for the two institutions, which ordinarily cannot effectively function without each other. It must be said that, therefore, that the judgment is delivered for the overall best interest, and hopefully this will now put to rest this matter, and we wouldn't have any issues concerning whose right it is to recruit police into the force.
So the Socio-Economic Rights Accountability Project, SERAP, has asked the president. It seemed like the SERAP gives Tinubu 48 hours to reverse ban on Vanguard, Galaxy TV, and others. Let me list the TV stations that have been banned. The access to the, yes, their access to the Aso Rock, to the presidential villa has been withdrawn. They said that they took back their tags that gives them access. We're talking Ben TV, Galaxy TV, MITV, ITV, Abuja, Prompt News, On TV, Liberty TV, as well as Vanguard. Now, they did not, this article did not cover the reason for this, but he said that it would seem like so SERAP is appealing to the president that within 48 hours, can you reverse this in case you are not aware, because media freedom is essential to democracy being strengthened, and he said it would seem like there's a cherry picking of some people that have access and some that don't have access, that, you know, if in 48 hours they don't get any response from the president's letter, which was dated August 26th, that they would be pursuing legal actions to exert their rights and freedom of information, media rights, and access to citizens to have freedom to these things legally. So we're hoping that there will be a reply from the president's media team on the reason for the withdrawal of accreditation.
So I have the NBS unemployment report, a fraud, employers fume. The organized labor and employers in Nigeria rejected the latest reports in the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics that the unemployment rate in the country has fallen by 4.1%, describing the result as a fraud. I taken this story earlier during the weekend show, and this is coming again because a lot of more people are speaking up against the 4.1% unemployment rate that the NBS has released. And the article went on to say that the fact is that any statistical data that is not truly representative of the facts on ground loses its validity. We know that unemployment figure in Nigeria cannot be falling when the reality is that we have factories that are closing down and leaving the country, and people are leaving the country because of the difficulty in the operating environment. We see all of this coming up, and the NBS is insisting that the unemployment rate is 4.1%. The Manufacturers Association of Nigeria also expressed their displeasure in these figures, and also the Academic Staff Union of Nigeria. A lot of organizations are speaking against these figures, saying that it doesn't reflect the reality on the ground that they're experiencing, and that people, even recent graduates, who are the organizations that are absorbing the recent graduates. So a lot of people are really...
It's on paper, but reality
But NBS can give us how they came about the figure, and that way they... Okay,
we have to wrap up, but there's a story that caught my attention in Vanguard I thought I needed to take about the airstrikes. So because it looked like a movie, it sounded like a movie to me, so I wanted to take the story. So according to this report, several airstrikes conducted by the Nigerian Air Force have destroyed 3 illegal refinery sites in Rivers State. The spokesperson had told us that he explained that the air component of OPDS on Sunday carried out air strikes on these illegal sites located at the Cawthon channels, and a bunch of others. But what's really caught my attention was the pandemonium caused by this airstrike, because according to them, several kidnapped victims ran for their lives, and even the abductors too ran for their lives. But I'm happy that the Air Force were able to mop them up, according to this report. They said that some of the militants who attempted to flee through their various escape routes were mopped up. In one of the suspected kidnappers' camps, a lone structure suspected to be harboring kidnapped victims was armed with armed men around the structure, was also destroyed on the bus. So you can imagine that these airstrikes are dropping from the sky and then blow up these places, and then you have people scampering for safety, and then you have our people coming.
Really sounds like a movie.
And then come to take our people, you know, wrapped up and arrested. Sounded like a nice Van Damme movie, but I hope that's exactly what happened.
That's what happened. Our people are working.
Yes,
Celebrate you.
Nigerian Air Force is working. All right. That's all we can take on this Monday front page review. When we return, move on to our hot topic of the day. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.